Challah is hands down one of my favorite breads in the world. Today, I'm turning it into cute as a button hedgehogs, which will have a sweet pecan filling. They're fluffy, gooey on the inside, and totally adorable. To get started, I'll get a 1/4 cup of sugar, and then I'm gonna add 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna keep my flour standing by to add more to dust it as needed. And a teaspoon of kosher salt. I'll whisk this to combine, and then I'll mix up my wet ingredients. All right, now for my wet ingredients, I'll crack 2 eggs into a separate bowl. Challah has to have eggs. It gives the dough that signature richness. And then I'll add 1/3 cup of oil. I'm using a flavorless oil here. Good challah recipes have a fair amount of sugar and oil so that they're extra rich and sweet. And now I'll whisk this to combine. Now I have my egg mixture, my dry ingredients, and I also have some active dry yeast proofing in 1½ cups of water with a teaspoon of sugar, because yeast loves sugar. It's foamy now, and so it's ready to add. And now I'll stir this and get it kneading. And you can do this by hand or with the stand mixer. Now let this go for about 7 to 10 minutes until it's smooth and slightly sticky. I'll add a little flour if it seems too sticky, but I want to be careful not to add too much, otherwise the challah could dry out. All right, this dough looks beautiful. It's so soft. Okay, I'm gonna stretch this into a ball. Gorgeous. And I'll grab a clean bowl. I'll add a little oil to the bottom of the bowl so that the dough doesn't stick. I'll zhuzh it around and get the dough all coated in that oil. Flip it over. And now I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise. While my dough rises, I'll make my pecan filling. It's sweet and mapley, and it's a great texture inside of the fluffy challah. To get started, I'll get a 1/4 cup of softened butter. And this is really soft because I'm mixing it by hand. And then I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of sugar. And I'll just mash this together with my spatula. Next, I'll season it with a pinch of salt. And I'll flavor it with some vanilla. It goes so nicely with pecans. And I'm gonna add an egg white to hold the filling together so that it doesn't leak out of the hedgehogs. And I'll save the egg yolk for the egg wash on top of them. I'll mix this together. I love stuffing my challah with a filling, either savory or sweet. So I have some ground pecans here, and I'm gonna add 1½ cups of them, and it'll make kind of like a pasty situation. And this will make it easier to scoop into the bellies of the hedgehogs. And now I'm ready to stuff the bellies of my hedgehogs. I'll dust my surface with some flour so that it doesn't stick. And then I'll dump the dough out and divide it into 14 equal pieces. I'm gonna have 14 new friends. Now I'll just roll these into balls, which will help them flatten into a circle once I roll them out. And I'll place about a tablespoon of my pecan filling into the center, and then pinch the edges to seal them shut. And I'll place them seam side down back onto my surface, and then these will rise for another 30 minutes. Time to bring these hedgehogs to life. I'll brush them with an egg wash, which will make them nice and shiny. And now I'll snip their little ears slightly off center, and I don't want to go all the way down to the filling, so only about a 1/4 inch ears. And at this point, they could be cats, they could be bunnies, but hedgehogs are the silliest. And now I'm gonna give them eyes with black sesame seeds, and my tweezers will come in handy for this. They're starting to look like hedgehogs. I'm gonna bake these now at 375 for about 20 minutes until they're golden brown, and then they'll get their quills. So to decorate our hedgehogs, I'll add a nice big circle of glaze on top. And this is just powdered sugar and milk glaze.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna start at the back, and they can kind of stick up to give it some dimension. And then you have to overlap them so that they start to spike up.
It's so nice the way they stick. I mean, it's really easy to do.
Yeah, it's a really sticky glaze.
It's really fun.
It's important to get the glaze nice and thick with a lot of powdered sugar.
Okay.
That'll help it stay.
I love doing this.